What presentation tips for public speaking can you learn from a very short TED Talk that got more than 8.5 million views? And when I said short TED Talk, it's literally less than 3 minutes. It's the How to Tie Your Shoes TED Talk by Terry Moore. I bet you have no idea how to tie your shoes correctly. It's such a brilliant trick. I even bought a new pair of shoes to show you how to do it, but we'll get to that in a minute. And here's a very important disclaimer. This TED Talk speaker, Terry Moore, is not a professional speaker, celebrity, or academic who had spent his whole life learning how to tie his shoes. He also has no best-selling book, viral content, or big audience. Yet, his talk went viral, outperforming most 18-minute TED Talks. So it went viral entirely because of how he structured and delivered his speech. I'm Marina Baraeva. I break down talks like this because if you understand why they work, you can apply the same presentation tips for public speaking to your own speeches. And there is actually a formula behind why this TED Talk was watched more than 8.5 million times. It has 5 key components. Universal problem, you are doing it wrong hook, live demonstration, shortness, and deeper meaning. When you combine them, they give you maximum shareability. Let's break it down, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And watch this video till the end, because I'll also give you 2 more bonus presentation tips for public speaking that are very effective and so easy to implement that you will want to use them in your speeches. So the first thing Terry Moore does in his TED Talk is so simple, yet many public speakers often miss this concept. He picks one of the most basic skills in life, tying shoes. And he touches on the very universal problem. Your shoes just get untied all the time. It's like one of those moments when you walk down the street, stepping on your laces, and you have to stop to tie your shoes again. And imagine if it just rained, your laces are dirty, and so are your hands after you tie your shoes. 100% of the audience understands the problem. More than 90% likely feel personally attached. He challenged almost everyone. When you're deciding what to speak about, ask yourself, is this something everyone in this room has experienced? Because the more universal the problem you talk about, the more people will feel like you are talking directly to them. If your audience immediately thinks, oh, this is about me, you've already won half the battle. That's one of the most overlooked presentation tips for public speaking. Now, his opening hook is a very smart move. He says, most of you are tying your shoes wrong. You are telling a room full of smart people they can't do a basic life skill? That's a brilliant tension builder. It's impossible to hear this claim and not care about the answer. A lot of times, speakers try to earn audience trust by demonstrating their own competence. Terry Moore does the opposite. He challenges the audience's competence. It works because it triggers a fundamentally different emotional response, curiosity through ego disruption. After that, people need to find out if they've been wrong, if they are those most people who can't tie their shoes. And here's something unique about this concept. People share this talk not only to educate others, but to say, can you believe we've been doing this wrong? So this is one of the presentation tips you can try next time. Pick a universal, relatable problem that your audience may have and tell them, there's a good chance you've been doing this wrong. Think about what's something your audience thinks they know how to do, but is actually doing at 60%. What competence gap can you reveal? You can build a whole speech just from this question alone, where you uncover all your expertise on your topic. Now, this is the part where I'm actually going to show you what Terry Moore demonstrates in his talk, because this principle is better felt than described. This is one of the most practical presentation tips for public speaking. Don't just tell. Add a live demonstration. Show people what you talk about. Terry Moore starts telling a story about how he bought a pair of new cool shoes with nylon laces that he could not keep tight. So he decided to return his shoes, But the store owner said, "Oh, you're tying them wrong." So here's how to do that. This is how most people tie their shoes. Most people wrap away from their body, and this makes the knot sit sideways. You see? It's like this. Soon your shoes will get untied and you will need to tie them again. The issue is the direction you wrap. Now this is how to do a strong knot. Same starting point, but when you wrap the lace, one loop goes over and the other goes under. You go toward your body, this way, instead of away from it like in this case. It's just the opposite way from the weak knot. And when you're done, it's stable. You see, we got two different knots. When I watched that TED Talk, I couldn't believe I had to retie my trainers every time I walk outside, because I always use the weak knot. Let me know in the comments, did you know about this trick before? Or did you just learn it? But here's what I especially want you to notice. I just taught you something you'll actually remember, because you watched me doing it while I was talking. And here's a big reason why Terry Moore's TED Talk got millions of views. The demonstration keeps the audience attention. The audience learns by watching, not just listening. This is why the talk has been rewatched many times. People come back to actually learn the technique. If you only give a speech on stage, this presentation tip will keep your audience's attention during your live demonstration. But if your speech is filmed, and if you give a TED or even a TEDx talk, they are always filmed, then such demonstrations may help you get more watch time because people will want to rewatch what you've done. Think about your own presentations. Where are you explaining something that you could be showing instead? Maybe you can add a live demonstration to your speech. The next one is the kind of presentation tips for public speaking that almost everyone knows, but very few speakers actually use well. People often think they need more content and take more time to sound impressive to create an impact. Terry Moore's TED Talk is 2 minutes and 42 seconds long. During this time, he challenged people's skills, told an interesting story, demonstrated a new trick, and ended with a meaningful idea. A lot of speakers think that more content equals more value. They have this unconscious idea. The longer I talk, the more I'm worth listening to. But that's not how attention works. One of the most important presentation tips for public speaking is your talk should be exactly as long as your idea needs, and not 1 second longer. You better say less, but make it sharper. Look through your speech. If you have a part that does not move the talk forward, cut the filler. If your idea is a 3-minute idea, give it 3 minutes. Don't stretch it into 30 by rambling around the same point. Respect your audience's time, and they will respect you more for it. Now here's the part most people miss when they analyze this talk. All of this is how to tie your shoes TED Talk. At the very end, Terry Moore says, sometimes a small advantage someplace in life can yield tremendous results someplace else. This is what transforms his speech from a shoe tying tutorial into a TED Talk. So turn a small idea into a big meaning. Without it, this TED Talk is just a life hack or a useful tip. With it, it becomes a philosophy, the idea worth sharing. He spent 3 minutes proving that something simple you've been doing forever might have a better way, and then he lets you apply that idea to your whole life. It's a reminder that small improvements compound, that the details we overlook are often the ones that matter most. Think about your own content. If you are only teaching the what and the how, you might be missing the big picture, the why it matters beyond the thing itself. Connect your specific technique to a universal idea that people can take away from your speech. It may start with a simple idea or a tip, and then you wrap it up with a wise lesson. And if you want to build a business through public speaking or get paid to speak, You need to choose ideas and lessons that align with the message you want to be known for, because that's what people will associate you with. But here's where it gets tricky. I see this all the time. Speakers spend all their energy polishing their delivery, working on their stage presence, practicing their timing, and they wonder why they're not getting booked or why their ideas aren't spreading. That's because getting known for your ideas requires more than just being good on stage. You need to clarify your message and work on what actually moves you forward. Most speakers stay invisible because they don't know what to focus on next. To help you with that, I put together a free Level Up Your Public Speaking guide that shows you what stage you are currently at and what your next step is, so you're not wasting time on wrong things. The link is right below this video in the description. It's completely free. Go check it out. And there are 2 more quick presentation tips for public speaking that you can learn from this TED Talk before I pull this all together. I think they're so powerful and easy to use, but many people skip them when they give speeches. First is the contrast technique. Weak knot versus strong knot. Wrong way versus right way. Old method versus better method. Contrast does 2 things at once. It creates visual clarity and it creates a memory anchor. The audience remembers the comparison, which means they remember your point. Every time you have a concept to explain, see if you can frame it as before and after, old thinking versus new thinking. What most people do versus what the best people do. This is simple, but incredibly effective. The second public speaking tip is the immediate win. Terry Moore's audience could apply his lesson within 10 seconds of the talk ending. There was no gap between learning and doing. That's rare. Most TED Talks deliver ideas that take weeks to act on. How to Tie Your Shoes TED Talk gives you a skill you can practice in the parking lot. When you are designing a talk or presentation, ask, can I give my audience a win before they leave the room? Not just takeaway, but a simple action. Something they can try tonight. The closer you get to that, the more useful and memorable your talk becomes. Because people get a quick win and they know that what you've shared works. With all of that, here's the big takeaway from analyzing this TED Talk. You don't need a unique idea to make a big impact. You need a familiar problem, a challenge, a clear demonstration, and a simple idea that connects to something bigger. But here's one more thing which I keep coming back to when I look at why this talk went viral. Brene Brown's talk became popular because it made people feel seen. Simon Sinek's TED Talk went viral because it made people feel strategically smarter. But Terry Moore's TED Talk got millions of views because it made people feel like they discovered a secret. And they shared because they learned something very simple that they did not know before. Can you believe we've all been doing this wrong? That's the emotional trigger, and it was engineered from the very beginning of Terry Moore's TED Talk. You don't need a profound topic to give a memorable talk. You need a clear, surprising insight about something people already know. You need the right hook, the right structure, and one line at the end that says, here's why this matters more than you think. That's the real presentation tip for public speaking this talk teaches. And it's one a lot of speakers never pick up because they're too busy trying to sound impressive. If you want to learn more presentation tips for public speaking, watch this video next.